Hey everybody, welcome to my shop. This is Chareco sewing machines. My name's Griffin. Today's video is going to be about the Singer 114W Chainstitch Embroidery Machine. We are going to take a dive into the marketplace of machines that are available for sale, and we're going to talk about the number of misrepresented, knockoff, and counterfeit machines that are made available to you. So we're going to look at this genuine Singer 114W that I've rebuilt for a customer, and we're also going to examine two machines that I believe to be counterfeit. This one came from a very prolific seller on eBay. The other one came from a private sale in Los Angeles. Based on the details, how they're put together, I think they probably came from the same place. We're also going to be examining a number of original Singer parts in both video and still format, and we're going to compare them to parts that I've taken off of these counterfeit machines so that you can see the difference between genuine parts, non-genuine parts, genuine parts, and even counterfeit parts. Let's get to it. Let's start by defining a few terms I used at the top of the video. Misrepresented. I'm going to use this term to describe any machine that's been damaged or has defects known to the seller that are not explicitly divulged to the buyer. This may be a crack in the face bracket or bed casting. It could be a broken gear teeth or a number of other surprises. A knockoff. I would consider machines which are based on the Singer 114W platform, such as a Conso 104 or an Axis machine or a Mauser brand machine, to be a knockoff. Personally, I don't have any problem with this type of machine as long as it's clearly being sold under a proprietary brand name that's not Singer. Non-genuine. Non-genuine is a term that I'm going to use for a suspect machine or machine part that's missing a part number or trademark, trade stamp, where a genuine part would definitely have one. Counterfeit. This term applies to a machine or machine part which has non-genuine parts with Semenko trademark stamps. I will also use counterfeit to describe any machine which is being sold as genuine but contains less than 50% genuine parts. Now let's take a deep dive into the three machines that I showed you earlier. The first genuine machine is going to include a gold number 1 in its videos and stills. The second machine, which is a counterfeit, is going to include a red number 2 in its videos and stills. The third machine, which is counterfeit, is going to include a green 3 in videos and stills. And for the purpose of providing extra examples, I'm going to use some other Singer Semenko USA or Singer Semenko Great Britain stamped parts from my collection. And these are going to have a gold 0 in the video and stills. Alright, so this is our first machine. This is a genuine Singer 114W103. We're going to take a look just at the machine as a whole. This has really beautiful original paint and patina. You can see that some of the paint's missing here on the hand wheel. You've got this really beautiful patina from, I'm going to guess someone sticking pins probably in a magnet or maybe a little cloth band. See the inside of the machine. Now I've taken this machine apart and cleaned everything, so it's still got a lot of that nice original color. It's the inside of the faceplate. Hopefully you can see over here we've got a part number stamp, and this is the last 3 digits of the machine serial number scratched into the plate. And now to just start going through the machine. This is the face of the machine. Right off the bat, we're going to identify a number of part number stamps. You've got one here on the face of the machine. We're looking for another one here, part number here, on the needle bar clamping sleeve. We've got part numbers on the slide block, on the back of the nose here. We've got a part number on the collar. Just about every part of the machine has a part number somewhere. So that's one thing that you want to look for in a genuine machine, is the prolificness of part numbers. And it's going to say either Chareco, which stands for Singer Manufacturing Company. It's going to say Chareco USA or Chareco Great Britain. So this is going to apply to the Singer 114W made in Bridgeport, Connecticut, or the Singer 114K made in Scotland. The Singer 114E made in Japan, this does not necessarily apply to. You can see here, this is the inside of the body plate. We've got a stamped Chareco USA part number here, and the last 3 digits of the machine serial number are scratched into the faceplate. Right away we can identify a number of parts with part number stamps. We've got a collar here. This shaft has a part number. Now this is an interesting thing to think about. The way that these machines would have had their part numbers stamped into them would have been probably using an offset punch. They may also have had special dies made. This is something that would be really expensive to replicate for someone counterfeiting machines. Not impossible, but expensive. So if you have a shaft that's concave, you have to have an identically shaped concave punch to punch that part number over the arc. So replicating a part number on a round shaft is quite difficult. So that's something that you can look for when purchasing a machine. This collar, part number, stop motion block, part number. This collar, part number. Both gears have part numbers. Here's a part number on this shaft. Inside the body, I'll do a still because you probably can't see that. There is a part number in the casting. I've taken the stop cam rocker out of this machine. That would go here. Cute little thing, has a part number on it. All of these, part number here, part number here. To the bottom of the machine. So right off the bat, something that I want you to look for when purchasing a machine is part numbers, original part numbers and trademark stamps on the bed casting. So this one says Chareco USA. We've got a part number in the bed here. The cast iron frames for these machines are easy to replicate. If you wanted to make a counterfeit version, you would just basically do a sand investment casting. And so potentially these part numbers and trademarks are deep enough so that they would come out in counterfeit casting. This machine is definitely original. These part numbers are original. I think that there are probably non-genuine machines that have counterfeit Chareco USA and part numbers in the bed. So just going through the machine, we've got a part number stamped into this cast iron bracket here. So we can go ahead and rotate. This is the worm gear, which operates the looper. There's a part number here. That would be a really hard one to replicate. A part number on the looper block between the thumb screw and the looper itself. There's a part number on multiple pieces of the tension assembly. There's one here on this arm. There's one on the back of the flappy. All of the individual gears. We've got one here on the handle rocker. And one part that is very commonly manufactured very poorly is this operating rod that runs from the main shaft down to the cast iron bracket that operates the worm gear and looper. So I'm going to show you what that looks like here on this machine. This is held in place by 2 set screws and a pin. This was almost certainly a cast part that was then machine finished, and the 2 machines that we're going to look at next, this particular part is very obviously non-genuine and poorly made. All right, here's our genuine Singer machine. This machine belongs to a customer of mine. They bought it on eBay from a very notable seller who sold a whole bunch of these things. I'm just going to say my opinion is that this machine is counterfeit. I was able to find part numbers in the arm frame casting, and there is a part number that's just barely legible on the bottom of the frame. There's no Chareco USA part number down here. It's possible that this frame cast iron is original, but I am going to assert the opinion that it could be counterfeit. Let's walk through this machine in the same order that we did the last one. When I received this machine, I went through and cleaned everything. I took the face off and put it through an ultrasonic cleaner, and this really weird thing happened where certain parts of the face developed this weird multicolored pattern. There's little blotchy opaque parts on this piece, on this piece, on the face here. That means that these are probably some weird pot metal counterfeit parts. They just threw a bunch of stuff into a smelter, melted it down, and made these parts. There's a Chareco USA stamp on the face here. There's a Chareco USA stamp on the foot lifting bar here. And I think that's it for this machine. I believe that's it. So, red flags right off the bat. 2 part numbers on a face that should have a dozen, maybe 20 or more different part numbers. On the last machine, we saw part numbers on the needle bar holder. We saw part number on the bevel gear, on the slide block, on the nose bracket, on the guide here. We would have seen a part number on this little finger. So to me, those are all what I described as non-genuine parts. In a genuine machine, those should have Singer Chareco USA or Singer Chareco Great Britain part number stamps. Big time red flag. A hallmark of a counterfeit machine, this screw, this set screw that holds one of these bell cranks in place is elongated. Usually this would be about 1/4 of an inch or 1/3 of an inch recessed down. So the fact that this is flat, that's always one of the things that I look for in photos. There is a tapered pin that's running through the main shaft to keep this stop collar in place. No part number on this collar, no part number on the main shaft, no part number on the cam slide block, no part number on this collar. The stop cam rocker is clearly, to my eye, the wrong shape. This is a handmade part. That was poorly made. None of the gears, the bevel gears, have part numbers. I took this entire bracket out with these 2 set screws, and we'll do a still of that. This casting is stamped Royal as opposed to Singer, Semenko, or not having a stamp at all. So this is just a non-genuine part. I wouldn't call that counterfeit because it has another maker's mark on it. This is the long shaft that operates off of the main shaft and actuates the worm gear and looper. The attachment detail, before we, there is another part number inside the body, so this could be an original casting. I think it's fake. This is the long operating rod that runs from the main shaft down to this crank rocker that operates the worm gear and looper. This is definitely a non-genuine part. It does have the attachment details that I spoke of on the last machine, so there are 2 set screws and a tapered pin, but this part was definitely handmade, hand-filed. It does not appear to be a cast part that was then machine finished. The bottom of this machine is where things get particularly hilarious for me. So it's my opinion that nothing on the bottom of this machine is original. These are provable, non-genuine parts because they have maker marks from producers who are not Singer. This is the handle casting that operates the set of bevel gears that rotate the face and the foot. There is a arrow-shaped maker's mark in the casting of this piece. On this piece of cast iron on the inside, there's a Nike swoosh. I don't know whose maker's mark that is. It's hilarious. No part number on the tension assembly casting. I don't think that I found a maker's mark on the looper block. Worm gear is definitely not original. Doesn't have a Singer stamp. It's a super rough, pretty poorly machined part. A lot of facets as opposed to being well-rounded. No part number, maker's mark on the handle brackets anywhere. None of the gears have part numbers. None of the shafts have part numbers. I don't think that I found, yeah, there was nothing on the bottom is original. I feel very confident in saying that. The last part of this machine casting that I want to point out to you is that the bed casting is cracked and broken. You can see there's a hairline fracture that goes through the casting here. Some parts it's under the paint, some parts the paint have chipped away and you can see it, but I suspect that this casting was probably cracked and damaged before it was sold to the buyer. So that's a really unscrupulous tactic. You can see also that this casting is just really rough. Faceplate's chintzy, painted on both sides, which is a red flag. The Singer ones are not painted on the inside. No part number, no hand scratched last 3 digits of the serial number. So I am going to again assert the opinion that this machine is somewhere between 90 to 100% counterfeit, non-original, non-genuine parts. Okay, this is the oh fuck, hold on. I gotta turn down my Lady Genesis P. This machine came in for service was because the thumb screw in the needle bar holder broke. I'm going to compare this, definitely a knockoff part, no Singer stamp, no part number, to 2 Singer parts and 2 Cornellis. This does not rotate freely. Here's another. This one will get in there, but it's so tight that it won't rotate. Cornelli parts. Again, you can fit them in there, but they won't rotate. Needle bar holder is too big of a diameter to fit into the central tube. So there's one original Singer part that's too big. Another Singer part that's too big. Cornelli part doesn't fit. Now this Cornelli part almost fits in there, but the flat spot on the needle bar holder doesn't match up with the flat spot inside, which is what allows the whole thing to spin. The parts just don't fit, right? Here it is, the forward focus. Hello. Original Singer stamp. Here's all the way to the left. This is the original, next to a pair of Singer parts. You can see the profile of the top of the head. Let's see, let's get them all facing the same way. This one's more domed. You see that? More convex. Lots and lots of hand forming, hand shaping, hand filing. There's just a lot wrong. There's all sorts of shit that's just wrong. That screw is another one that's obviously not original. That's that mustard seed oil making it so fucking tacky. But yeah, this is atrocious. These hand shaped and filed stitch length tabs. Look at the shape of that thing. The fake Singer Semenko stamp. This is the wrong shape. So here's what I'm going to do for this machine. I'm going to break the machine down into its individual parts. I'm going to soak it in the ultrasonic with some Dawn and hot water and see if we can get all that mustard seed oil off. I spent a good portion of last night scrubbing all of the mustard seed oil off of this first chain stitch machine we're looking at, and I'll zoom in, trying to not make the camera vibrate too much. This is all the particulate that came off the machine. So this is what this guy's using for a lubricant. Is this like sticky organic oil that look at all this shit. The reason that every single one of these machines, after you get it and run it for a while, has this crusty, sticky goo all over it, is because the fucking guy is using mustard seed oil instead of mineral oil. So this machine, I think that this machine is a counterfeit. I think there's a good chance that it has no original genuine parts. Maybe the bed casting, maybe the arm casting. It sews okay. I have done a full service on this machine and gone through and did all the adjustments. It's sewing better than it did when it came in. I also spent probably 10 hours cleaning all of the mustard seed oil out of the machine, which was a pain in the ass, and for $4,600, just not worth it. All right, this is our third machine. This machine was mailed to me by a customer. He bought this machine private sale in Los Angeles. I am going to assert the opinion that this machine came to the US from the same dealer on eBay as the last machine that we looked at. There's just so many similarities between the two. It's sort of Occam's razor. We're going to start by looking at the face of this machine. So we have the same part numbers in the same place. There's one on the face here. There's one on this foot lifting lever bracket. Otherwise, I was not able to find, this machine's really crunchy, any part numbers on the face. I think that there is one here on the needle bar clamping sleeve lifting arm. That's a mouthful. Otherwise, we would be looking for a part number here, a part number on the bevel gear, a part number on the guide collar, part numbers on the nose itself and the nose carrying block. Just a bunch of non-genuine parts. So those are all like big red flags to me. All this brown crap on the machine face is mustard seed oil, and I don't know why that's the lubricant of choice. It's full of literal mustard seed shell. So that's just a bunch of red flags. Taking a look inside the body of the machine, this faceplate is definitely non-original. It feels really flimsy. It's painted on both sides, which is not how Singer made them. Does not have a part number, does not have the last 3 digits of the serial number of the machine scratched into it. This is another example of a machine that has that tapered pin that is set through the main shaft. No part number on this collar, no part number on the main shaft, no part number on the slide block, on the stop cam rocker, no part number on the stop collar here. This does have a Chareco part number on this little guy. That's definitely counterfeit. There's no way that that's original. It's the wrong shape. It's roughly made. This is a low quality part. This stop cam rocker, definitely non-genuine. The bevel gears don't have part numbers. This machine does not have a Chareco trademark or part number inside the arm frame casting. Underneath the machine, no Chareco USA, no part number. These milled areas, 1, 2, 3, where these cast iron pieces are attached, these would not have been painted over on any original machine. Handle bracket, Mauser. This assembly has a 6-pointed star and the number 8 on this piece here. That is a non-genuine piece. None of these bevel gears have part numbers. This shaft doesn't have a part number. The looper slide block is stamped with the Mauser M. The looper here, no part number. This is the worm gear. The looper inside the machine on this machine, I believe, does not have a trademark stamp for any manufacturer. The tension bracket, this guy here, has what I believe is a genuine Chareco USA part number with a trademark stamp. It's my opinion that on this entire machine, the only original genuine part is this handle bracket. So out of the, let's just make a rough estimate of 100 parts that are on this machine, it's my professional opinion that the only genuine original part is this one cast iron piece. Otherwise, everything else is non-genuine or counterfeit. And that sucks. So I have started to break down the third machine. This is the one that came from LA, and I've got it most of the way apart. I started by spraying down all the individual pieces with denatured alcohol. Then we're going to put it in the heated ultrasonic cleaner and probably have to disassemble everything and clean it with a wire brush. Real pain in the ass. So the machine face attaches to the machine body with 3 different screws, here, here, and here. And this is drilled oblong, has some like really serious wear. Another reason that I think that this is a poorly made counterfeit part with a Singer Semenko stamp. There's just details that are wrong. So this is what these parts look like after about 90 minutes of being just soaked in some hot water and Dawn dish soap. See that? I once again am coming to you to ask why the fuck you do this to me. Why you torture me like this? What's like your deal, man? Yuck. That's called yuck. So we're gonna take these to the old wire wheel and spend way too much time polishing them up. This is the face plate. Some stuff to note here. This hole, which is where the little finger for the foot lifter goes. This has been poorly machined. I don't know how they did it. They broached it or did something. This is a screw hole that goes through the, this is how the face bolts onto the arm casting. That's like an oblong, poorly drilled, poorly machined bit. All right, this piece here, this is definitely not original. Singer pinned these in place. This one is just brazed. You can maybe in the video see that there's that brass braze fill here. This hoop has been broken and brazed shut. That's not how Singer did it, but it has a Semenko USA stamp. Counterfeit. This piece is counterfeit. All right, now these are some really fun pieces. So this one actually has a Mauser trademark that's only been like 50% filed off. They tried to get rid of the trade stamp. Look at that. So this is a part that's had a trademark filed off. This says Singco, S-I-N-G-C-O. This is another part that they didn't try to file the trademark off of this one, but I couldn't see it until I got all that mustard seed oil off, which was still, I probably spent 10 hours or more just scrubbing mustard seed oil. Good thing I don't have anything better to do than fucking clean up someone else's mess. You can see here another spot where the mark of another maker has been half filed off. They didn't quite get it. Didn't quite get it all the way there, bud. That sucks. This is what $4,600 on eBay looks like. Looks bad. That looks bad. That's a thumbs down. See this here? We have a non-genuine something IVICO stamp. Part number 186 or 98K. I'm not sure what this says. But that is a non-genuine main shaft part. So this is the whole kit and caboodle. This is most of the machine taken apart, minus the main shaft. Brass braze. Now I'm going to put it all back together and sew the machine. Find out. Let's take a quick look at this knockoff machine number 3. and I will show you a couple of quick things to look for that are the hallmarks of a counterfeit machine. First red flag I look for: huge holes in the needle plate. That's like an immediate thing for me. Let's see if I can get this to focus. If you see a needle plate that looks super clean with no scarring and these huge holes, red flag. I pointed this little screw out earlier. In an original machine, this set screw would not be nearly flush. It would be set back maybe another 1/4 of an inch. So to me, that's a red flag. This little tab, on the original Singer machines, this would have been cast, not hand filed or hand machined. So if it looks a little bit rough or uneven, that to me is a red flag. This is the serial number stamp block for this machine. If it looks like it has been drilled out or modified in any way, that to me is a red flag. I'm pretty sure that these are hand stamped. That's an M, not a W, for example. It's actually different than the stamp here, which is also a counterfeit. This would have been brass, not white pot metal. Inside the machine, if you'll remember, both counterfeit machine 2 and 3 have this pin that keeps a stop collar in place. That is not an original Singer design. If you see that on a machine, stay away. Stay away, stay away, stay away. Here is what I can tell you about how this machine operates. A handful of things to note, things that I noticed. One of the things is that the looper throw on this machine is not a perfect 360 degrees. So the looper should oscillate back and forth like this. And it's actually starting at about 1 o'clock and going to about 3 and coming back, when it should be going from 1 o'clock oscillating back to 1 o'clock, you know, approximately. So it's not as even as the Singer machines. Inside the body, this shaft is a little bit wobbly. It doesn't seem to quite spin evenly. One thing that is quite noticeable on this machine, I took the nipple off the machine and replaced it with a Singer nipple because I like the size better. It did screw in, but the Singer nipples are actually too short, so it's not making contact with the felt. Another thing that I noticed on this machine was that throughout the machine, on the face bracket and all the assemblies on the bottom, there should be tapered locating pins so that when you take a bracket off and you put it back on, it'll locate, it'll index to the same exact place. There are no tapered indexing pins, locator pins anywhere on this machine. Because this one doesn't, the face will actually shift back and forth. So I had to make sure that the needle bar axis was lining up with the center of the hole on the needle plate. The Singers will just do that automatically. This machine I had to futz with. It's creating an okay stitch for now. It's passable. The stitch length tab doesn't do anything. It won't actually lengthen or make the stitch shorter. It's just sort of stuck like this. Maybe a little bit of difference, but not noticeable. here we are, several weeks later since we set out on this endeavor to discover the mysteries of knockoff and counterfeit chain-stitch embroidery machines. What a journey it's been. We took a peek at a genuine Singer Semenko 114W103, beautiful patina, sews great. All original parts with the exception of the little thumb screw that clamps the needle bar in place. We also took a peek at a couple of counterfeit machines, one of which certainly came from India, another one came from California, I think by way of the same seller in India. And I hope that this video will teach you a little bit about why the knockoff machines are lower quality. The materials that they're made out of, the lack of engineering, the low standards of manufacturing, and also some of the unscrupulous practices that are used by these manufacturers and sellers. For example, buying parts from, what did we see today? Sameco and Sinco, and then trying to grind off the maker's marks so that you don't know that they're non-genuine parts. That's really unscrupulous to me. I think I dwelt for maybe a little bit too long on the mustard seed oil thing. It's really a travesty. It fucking sucks. It fucking sucks to like try to scrub that stuff off. And it's amazing that it's being used and how much of a difference you can see after taking your machine apart and cleaning it. So I hope that this was the ride that you all expected and hoped for. My goal again was really just to help inform buyers, because this is a really fun hobby to start. It's a fun trade to get into. If you grind, you really can make a living working for yourself, cranking out embroidery on an old Singer. It's pretty fun.